Surgery for the Soul. Today I'm super excited to have one of my best friends from my hometown on, Jena. And I can't say your married name. Can you please pronounce it for me?
It's you're not the only one. It's Bounphisay.
Wow, I was definitely gonna butcher that. So
You gotta try it now.
Bounphisay. Sorry, Kevin.
Close.
Bounphisay. I don't know, but
Close.
I know her as Jena Bulgasm. So we have been friends for almost 12 years now, I believe. It's a very long time.
Very long time.
And it's going to keep going and growing. And I'm just so blessed and fortunate to have you in my life. So I love you so much.
I love you. And thank you for having me on. I feel so honored.
Yes, Queen. Well, I always like to start with an icebreaker question.
Ooh.
So to get the ball rolling, what is a memory that we share on your perspective? What is the funniest memory that we share together that you can remember?
Oh my God. Oh Lord. There's so many. There's so many. Can we talk about anything on here?
Yes. Anything.
Well, probably my funniest memory was our nights out when we would go drinking at Puffs.
Yes.
And it was you, Bree, and I, and we got so drunk and went back to our place. Bree and I lived together at the time.
Yeah.
And we decided to move my mattress out into the living room. And I just remember Bree being so drunk, jumping on the bed. And I don't know what came over you, but you pushed her off the bed and she like flew. And it was the funniest thing I've ever seen.
Oh
and it was just so playful on your side. Like you're just like, and Bree just like didn't even know what was happening. And I was just like, this is the best moment of my life. These are my best friends.
I don't remember.
Oh my God.
This was this at the house, like the house you guys lived in together with Kayla?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. I kind of faintly remember, but I feel like we've done something like that before, like where we made a fort or something. So I'm kind of remembering that as well.
My other favorite memory was our 24-hour beach trip. Remember, we waited for you to get off in the middle of the night and then we drove and chased each other around the house. And you and Bree, I didn't know if we could talk.
Yes, everyone listening, Jena's family has a very lovely beach house, and we would have the pleasure of going there every now and then and having a good turn-up time. And we would just go there in the middle of the night. You know, it was only 2 hours away. And we're talking about a story where we went there like after I got off work at Buffalo Wild Wings, and Bree was being crazy, one of our other very good friends, and chasing me around the house with a knife. And sliding it under the door and making scraping sounds. So, but I don't have PTSD from things like that.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, we're going to talk about mental health. We're talking about knives. I don't know if this is a good idea, but you know, we were just crazy. We just had so much fun. I mean, there's so many, but those are the ones that
wild and free, weren't we?
We were. We didn't have any care in the world. It was amazing.
It was the best. Well, Jena used to be my first spiritual friend I've ever encountered. I didn't even know what that really meant at the time, but I just knew you were different. You always had like a light about you, always calm, cool, and collected. You were always the person to go to for advice, and you listened to Bob Marley, and you burned sage, and I didn't understand it then, but I'm here now.
Got my sage right here.
I got some over here. I got it right here.
It's a necessity. It is.
It is. Got some crystals.
Oh, girl, I'm right there with you.
Yes. So I had no idea. I was not woke. So Jena was woke at a very early age. I don't know how that happened, but it's freaking cool. So You're
you.
one of my coolest friends. So it's an honor. But yes, to mental health, I'm so excited to have you on. And I know you were mentioning that that you wanted to share how you think we can end the stigma for mental health and not make it seem like such a people to share their stories, to be so scared to share what they've been through and their anxieties or their depression and things like that.
You know, I just feel, I mean, it's 2022, and I feel like people still just are so afraid to speak their truth
Mhm.
and to admit that we all struggle. And I'm guilty of that. You know, I'm 30 years old and I just now am seeking, actual professional help for my anxiety. I suffered for so many years internally because I felt like one, I no one would relate to me. No one would understand what I'm going through or the fears I have. And people would judge me and people would think I'm crazy. And I just felt so alone. And in this past year alone, I have been more open and honest, not only with myself, which is the most important, but open and honest with girlfriends and my husband and with my brother, family,
Yeah.
and then they're all like, I feel that way too. I have, these issues too. And it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. I think I lost you for a second.
Yeah, we lost your
I
screen.
got I got I got a call. How do I get
Oh,
back?
let me get it back. I could do it. Let's see here.
I'm here. I think I'm here. I'm here. I'm sorry.
Okay. It's all good. Popular.
I guess, man. Of course, and I'm doing something.
Right? Yes, no, I
Yeah.
resonate with that too. Keep going. I don't know if you were still talking.
Yeah, I mean, it's really opened my eyes to know that, and I don't think people realize, like even my girlfriends that are just like, you know what, Jenna, yeah, I deal with anxiety too, and I've suffered with it for so many years. Just hearing that alone, not like I'm like, oh great, I'm not the only one who's going through this,
Right.
but to know that they're showing me support and I can show them support, and we can walk this journey together.
Yeah.
It's going to bring us so much closer to that happiness that we all deserve, you know?
Yes, I completely resonate with that. It does feel a lot better when you aren't alone in it, but also having something in common like that, so you don't really have to over explain yourself to people
Exactly.
when things get a little weird or wonky. You don't have to be like, girl, I know, like boundaries,
Yeah.
like I'm good over here. Like, you don't have to over explain if you need a last minute cancel and blah, 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 blah. Like you did that for me recently because we were supposed to record last week and I was having a
Yeah.
day. I was having a week. I was
Yeah.
in my head a lot, and you gave me that space and that freedom and forgiveness and understanding to let me, let it all just flow and come back to it when I'm in a better headspace.
And doesn't that feel so good? Because me a year ago, if I was in your situation, like last week, I was dealing with a bunch of stuff and I was having all this anxiety and I felt like no one understood. That alone would give me more anxiety because
Yep.
it's like, great, I had this plan and now I'm feeling really, anxious inside, but I can't explain that to Jenna because she's not going to get it. She's going to think I'm crazy. And then that
Yeah.
spirals more anxiety. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
you felt open enough to be like, hey, Jenna, this is what's going on. And I'm not in the right headspace.
Right.
And, to have that support and that understanding is everything.
It really
It's
is.
everything.
Yes. It made me feel so much better and loved and emotional in a good way. Like I just
Yeah.
kind of got teary eyed when you were like, just girl, you are fine. Like, let's do it when you feel better. It was just like,
Yeah.
understanding. I love it.
Yeah.
It's very, very sweet. I have a couple questions for you actually.
Yeah.
So what makes you happiest and what makes you feel the most grounded? Like when you are kind of spiraling or having anxious thoughts or intrusive thoughts, like what brings you back down to life?
Well, first and foremost, nature. I mean, if I'm having a moment of anxiety or I've got so much going on, if I can just step outside, whether it's pouring down rain, or it's sunny outside, taking a breath of fresh air is so healing. And I think so many people take advantage of that. You don't take advantage of it, actually.
Right.
Like they take it for granted. Is they don't realize that just stepping outside and taking a breath and breathing in that fresh air is so healing. So that's my number one. Number two is writing. I love to write. You know this, I've always loved writing, and just getting those thoughts out of my mind and on paper, being able to release that has been extremely helpful for me. And even to take it a step further is take those thoughts, put it on paper, and then get rid of it. Whether it's just ripping it up, whether it's burning it if you need to, whatever it is to diminish that, that is so healthy and healing for me. And just being around positive people. I mean, God bless my husband. He is, you having a support system is so helpful. But it can also, you have to have boundaries because, I have experienced where if you are too dependent on somebody else, they kind of take on your problems, and that can be a little bit of an issue. But just being around people who put you at ease, that can help take your mind off of things, is really, really helpful for me. Meditation, really too, just really sitting with myself and my breath, music, candles. I mean, the list can go on, but those are like the main things that really help me when I'm having those anxious moments.
Yeah, and you inspired me when I first met you. I remember you would use your day off, like your day off, you worked a lot.
Yeah.
I couldn't do a shift because I sucked. So we worked at Buffalo Wild Wings together, everybody, and I was not very good. I was not the best server, but she was the hostess with the mostest, y'all. And she would use her, she would use her days off in nature. And I never got it then, but I do now. It's just so funny in hindsight that you were already practicing self-love and mental health like a long time ago, before I even realized I had ADHD and things like that. So you inspired me in those ways. And then I started going out in nature and go hiking Multnomah Falls because you were doing it. I'm like, I'm going to do this. I didn't understand why I was doing it. I was like, Jena's doing it, so I'm going to do it.
That is so funny.
But I get it now. And also inspiring, like you were always so positive, and there, like during my darkest moments, like the darkest moments of my life, when I was having thoughts of hurting myself, going through breakups and things like that, just you helped to ground, like get my head above water so many times when I was down and out. And I just appreciate that so much. And yeah, I don't know where I'd be if you weren't around at those moments, those dark times. So I just wanted to share that.
I love you.
I love you too.
And it's so funny, like when you bring up, that I already had all that information at such a young age. I look back in those moments and I feel like, like when it comes to yearning for nature, it was something that was just within me. Like I just had this little desire. Yeah. And I think that we all have that desire within us. So it's like you had that desire within you even then. But I feel like you go through things in life and you become enlightened, and it comes at the right time. So it's funny because it's like I wasn't taught that. Like my parents are not the outdoorsy type of people. They never have been. You know what I mean? So it was just like something that I just within me, and I just explored it and just opened myself to it. And you have to be, it's all in timing too,
When do you think your awakening was then? Like when you felt like a shift, a change, and you were becoming?
Honestly, it was around the time we met. I would say maybe a couple years before that. I had just gotten out of high school, and if we take it back, I had experienced anxiety. My first memory of having anxiety was when I was 5 years old.
Wow.
And yeah, and I learned about what HIV and AIDS were. And here I am, a 5-year-old girl, and I had a fear of catching AIDS, not even knowing at 5 years old how you catch AIDS.
Right.
But in my mind, I'm like, I'm going to die. I'm going to catch AIDS and I'm going to die at 5 years old.
That's
You know what I mean? And then, and then I would have fears of, losing my parents, losing the people I love, not understanding, death and, things like that. And it was really hard. And I had these fears at such a young age and through my school years. And it wasn't until after high school, I went to Hawaii for the first time.
Yeah.
Well, no, I went to Hawaii the first time in high school, but I went right after high school, and I was listening to reggae music, and there was a moment where I just felt peace. And this, listening to Bob Marley, which might sound so ridiculous to some people, but if you really, learn about Bob Marley and who he was as a person and what kind of impact his music and his words and the way he lived his life, it really touched me. And it's funny, I think about it now. It's like, I used to, like, when people said, oh, do you believe in God? Do you like praise God? I was like, I praise Bob Marley because of who he was as a person. And I desired to live my life like him, just unconditional love.
Yeah.
And through his music, and that was such a huge part of me. And that's kind of when the shift happened. And I don't know how to explain it. It was just a feeling that came over me, and it's stuck with me. And as I've gotten older, I realized, because with spirituality, I don't fit into a category of, oh, I'm a Christian, or I'm this, or I'm that. Right. I believe in God, and to me, I think God is love. And I have unconditional love. That's what I have, and that's what I can give. And that moment in my life, in my early 20s, hearing Bob Marley and just being introduced to that music and that life and how he touched people, I just had a click in my brain, like, okay. And that's how I've lived my life since.
You most definitely have. You most definitely have been touching people in the most positive way, emotionally and mentally, always leaving the best impression with people. I'd have to say I didn't have my awakening till I moved to Tennessee, but you knew me. You mentioned when I last saw you this past summer that I seemed different, or like lighter or something, or like, I don't know, you said something and I was like, of my aura or something. I'm not really sure.
You have this ease about you now, just like this, not like this softness and this calmness that you didn't have, like you had, but it's just more, that's how I can explain it. I can't explain it in a word. It's just a feeling of when you're around.
Yeah.
And it's so beautiful to see and to feel.
Yes, because because being away so long from Oregon, like all those years, it was really, I was thankful to know that I had changed, because I didn't really like who I was in Oregon. I was like a victim. I was playing victim all the time, like, and just negative. And I was positive for the most part, but I always I was attracting a lot of negative things in my life because I was in a victim mentality state. And I had to shake that loose. And I'm just so glad that I did, and just realized, bad things happen in life, but it's just your perception on how you receive it and how you react to these types of things, to not have to keep attracting negative things to keep happening to you. So it meant a lot to me that I had changed for the better, and that you noticed it. So
yeah. I think what it is too is I think you truly love yourself now.
Yeah.
And looking back, I don't think you loved yourself.
Yeah, I didn't.
And, and when you don't love yourself, and that's what I mean by it's all love, right? And when you don't see the love in yourself, then you're not going to attract those people that are going to love you like you love yourself, right?
Yeah.
But I loved you from the moment I've met you.
I know.
And you know what I mean? And I see just really seeing such this beauty. And so I think you moving, you found your identity, you found who you are, which was always within you.
Yeah.
You know, that's the thing too that I want people to understand. And what I'm learning is everything we want, everything we desire is already within us.
Right.
How powerful is that?
It's
You know, to
amazing.
know that it's truly already everything we want is here.
Mhm.
But we have to go through these trials and tribulations and these hard moments to find it within us. And I think your move to Nashville was that. And
Definitely.
now you love yourself and you have attracted so many people who just love you and you have such great things around you. And that's all because of the love that not only you give out to others, but to yourself.
It's amazing. It's an amazing feeling. And it's so eye-opening that you recognize that in me that I didn't then and I do now, which is huge. I just didn't know how. I thought it was selfish to love yourself. Like I didn't understand life. You're right. I didn't know who I was. I was like having an identity crisis majority of my life.
Yeah.
And I was always just clinging to something to try to fit in, but I wasn't meant to fit in. I was meant
or to feel that love.
Yes.
You were looking for other people to give you the love that you had within you.
Right.
You know?
Trying to, like force it almost. Love me.
Yeah. 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 Exactly.
It's like, bitch, love yourself.
Hey.
It's a great feeling now, though. It's fabulous.
Yes.
I get it. It is not selfish to love yourself.
No, it's not at all.
Oh my gosh. Thank you for sharing that.
Of course.
So there was recently a huge loss in the community we've grown up in. Melanie passed away, and you mentioned that to me, and when I got the news, I still am trying to process it, but I'm bringing this up because she was an amazing person. And she touched so many lives, and she's an entrepreneur and always supported women, and she supported me. And when I wasn't necessarily fitting in, she always made me feel welcome. So I just wanted to say that for Melanie that recently passed, but also because grief is such a hard thing to go through, and you've experienced some loss, some great loss, and our very good friends have as well. Our good friend Robbie has been experiencing a lot of loss. Do you have any advice for people that experience grief and loss back to back, for our dear friend Robbie, or anything like that? I'm not very good with it, but I know you always handled it well and just have an open mind about things. So if you have anything to share.
Yeah, it's tough. I have experienced loss a lot in my life. Kevin and I lost one of our good friends to suicide when we were younger. And before that, our friend's brother passed away. And those were both very sudden. And I was very young when those happened. Yeah. So I don't think I handled those the best, to be honest. I was at a point in my life where I was, I would drink and go out to kind of numb those pains. Right. As I've gotten older, I've lost both of my grandparents, and those were very hard because not only they're your grandparents, but I was there every step of the way up to their passing. And I guess what brought me so much peace in that sense was they lived their lives. They lived their lives, and they got to experience life the way they want to. And something that really brings me at ease, especially with Melanie, I didn't know Melanie personally. Yeah. We knew of each other, but we weren't, we were acquaintances. But her death really hit me hard because in these situations, and especially like with Robbie, my heart for Robbie. It's, it's unfair. That's the first thing that comes to mind, is that it's unfair. They were young. They had a whole life ahead of them.
Yeah.
But something that I truly believe, and I believe this because of experience I've had, like with people that have passed away, I will have dreams where they come and visit me in my dream, and they're happy, and they are reassuring that they're okay. And I believe in my heart that when we pass, we don't want to come back. We want to, it's our time, and we're okay, And so I was actually talking to Kevin about this with Melanie. I said, it just kills me. It breaks my heart. But I believe that, when we pass over, we're okay. We're happy.
Yes.
And we want to be there. We want to be passed over. So that gives me some comfort and some peace. And I hope but that it's so hard to say, because you can say all the things, but that pain is still there. So I would just hold on to those, thoughts of they're at peace, they're happy, and they're always with us.
Right.
You have to stay open-minded. And, if you're thinking about them and you're sad and you're outside and the sun hits you in this way and it feels warmth, know that that's them giving you a hug or touching you. You know what I mean? Or you hear the birds chirp and it brings a smile to your face. Know that that's them. They might not be here with us physically, but they are with us, and they're here to guide us through the rest of our lives until we meet and see them again.
I resonate with the way you view death as well. I used to not handle it in the healthiest way as well, like drinking it away, numbing it away. But when I had my awakening, I saw death as something different. And I have a guardian angel, which is my grandmother, that I never met, my father's mother, and her name is Alice. And I've had 3 spiritual readings where they've all 3 different readings from like energy readers, healers, psychics, and they've all said the same thing, that there is a female spirit around me with the letter A in her name, and she's been with you since you were born, helping and guiding you. So I feel like when I shared that with, let's just say, with Robbie's situation, I'm like, Trent is there with you, baby. Like, it's so hard to deal with, and to think that way if you're not more of a spiritual person, but at least there's solace in that you're not alone, and you can take those moments of those signs from the universe of a bird just landing on your windowsill.
Exactly.
That's them. Just synchronicities that happen like that. It gave me solace in like assurance that I would be okay with passing when it's my time to go. Like, I'm not afraid. I agree. This isn't the business. This universe, there's so much pain here. And I feel like when we pass, it is a peaceful place. It is a peaceful place. And we're around to be there for our loved ones that are still on land, still on the earth, and just help them through tough times and lift spirit. So I completely agree with you on your view of that, on death and whatnot. It's just so hard when you live back-to-back grief situations. So yeah.
I think too, it's just, it's so easy to be angry and to not understand. And I think that's healthy. You have to, I think really the best way and advice is just time. Time does heal. And maybe, some people say it doesn't, but you have to give yourself time and feel all the emotions. If you're angry, feel angry. If but it will get better, and just stay open-minded, and just know, just like we talked about, you have to just trust that they are still with us.
Definitely. And crying. I've mentioned this lately, and reliving the memories too, and just the happy memories, the sad memories, and releasing those emotions through tears, that definitely helps me a lot and makes me feel a lot lighter. So yeah, anyone that's,
I'm a big advocate for crying.
yes, same.
I am.
Happy tears, sad tears, I'm here for it.
Yes, me too.
Oh my goodness. Do you have any questions for me, Jena?
Oh,
You're curious about?
you know, I didn't think of any questions.
Yeah, it's all good. Let me see here. Wait, what was the other question I had for you? Oh, yes. I have actually one more question for you. What is the best advice that you've ever been given?
The best advice I've ever been given. This actually advice was given to me a year ago. And you know, it's funny because I met with a shaman in April will be a year ago. And it was insane. But so I was in a place in my life where I was about to move. I was in Eugene for the past 5 years, and my husband and I decided on a whim we're going to move back to Portland within like a month before our lease was up. And there was a lot of unknowns. And with anxiety, anxiety to me is the fear of things that are out of your control. The fear of things that are the unknown. So that month before moving, my anxiety was on a whole other level. My mental health was on a whole other level. I didn't know what I was going to do career-wise. I didn't know where we were going to live. There was just things that were out of my control. And one of my girlfriends who I worked with met this beautiful woman named Anna, and she is a shaman. And she had just recently went and saw her and had such an amazing journey with her. And she actually gifted me a session with her as a going away present, because she knew that I was very anxious and afraid of this move. And when I went and met with her, I didn't really know what to expect. And I'm not the best person to explain, what shamanism is, but if that kind of sparks you or anybody who's listening, I would look into it and look it up, because it's very, very, it's been very healing for me. But when I met with her and she was kind of, explaining what shamanism is, and this kind of links to mental health, for me, it's telling your mind to shut the fuck up and let your heart do the talking. And that down is the best advice I've ever gotten. We are so in our minds all the time, and our mind is very powerful and beautiful, but it is our worst enemy at the same time.
Yes, it is.
And sometimes we just have to tell our minds, shut the fuck up. Excuse my language.
No, you could say it.
And let our heart do the talking.
Yes.
Because my heart and my mind are two completely different beings. And my heart is my truth. And my heart is who I am. That's what I need to go back to. And those moments that I'm feeling anxious and that I'm feeling, and I'm listening to my mind that's telling me all these things about myself or about situations that aren't true, because that's what anxiety does. I need to tell it to shut the fuck up.
I love this advice.
And let my heart do the talking.
Shut the fuck up. Listen to yourself.
Yes. And you know what? And telling you don't really have to sit there and say, hey, mind, shut the fuck up. That shut the fuck up can be going out in nature, going and trying a new hobby, go and do something that is going to bring you joy, and that's going to relieve that stress. That's the shut the fuck up part. And then you're back to your heart, you're back to the center, you're back to where it all is and where it should be. So that's the best advice. Yeah.
That is the best advice.
Yeah.
And it feels so powerful too, just saying it, even in your head, okay.
And also to add on that, which I had talked about just earlier, she's the one that also taught me too, everything that we want in life, everything we want to be, everything we desire is within us.
Yes.
And that's been very powerful for me, you know, the person who I want to be, who I long for. Some people can think, oh, that's just so out of reach. No, because you long for that, that's within you.
Yes.
You know,
it's our God-given right to have what we desire. And
yes.
who we desire.
And that is who we are. We have to do the work, and we have to, fight those demons in our mind that is doubt and all those things.
Yeah.
And, it's within us. And that has been so powerful for me and my growth journey, to know that the woman that I desire to be is already within me. I already am that woman. I just need to bring her out.
Yes, yes. Fear has a hold on a lot of people. And when she released that fear, it's like endless, like you are limitless when you have fear. Like it's the most empowering feeling. Me getting back into music and doing this podcast, I was one of the healers I have spoken with has told me that it is my purpose, and I feel it within my soul, in my spirit, that my voice is my purpose, whether that be singing, whether that be this podcast and sharing my story and letting others share their mental health stories, and their any stories for that matter. So I resonated with it completely. Once I released the fear, I just feel like more opportunities are just opening for me since I've released the fear of speaking out on things I've been through, and using my singing voice to uplift others. And also it's very fun.
Yes. And fear is what anxiety is.
Yep.
Anxiety is fear. And, my husband, he, when I was really starting to open up about my anxiety, he's like, I don't think I've ever experienced anxiety. And I said, you've never had a fear of something? And I'm not talking like a phobia of spiders or something. I'm talking like, have you ever feared of a situation or feared of something, And he's like, well, yeah. And I'm like, well, that's anxiety.
Yeah.
So I think what people need to realize is that anxiety and mental health, they're hand in hand, and we've all experienced it in some way or another. And I think when we can recognize that and be honest with ourselves first and others, we can touch and help so many people.
Yes, amazing. Yes, we can. I love that so much. And I love Kevin, your husband. I hope to have him on very soon. I'm going to reach out to him. He has the most amazing voice as well. He is such a light, such a gift to this world. You guys both are.
He's incredible. I'm so lucky. So lucky.
Oh gosh, you guys make me so happy. Oh my goodness. Well, if there is no question for me, that would be all of Surgery for the Soul podcast with Jena Buffett.
This was so fun.
Did you not catch I just butchered your last name?
Oh, no, I did not.
I was like with Jena Bounphisay.
I thought you were just like making up your own word, like bobichi or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna teach you. Okay, it's Bunsai.
Bunsai.
No, Sai.
Bumphisay.
Good job. You did it.
Thank you. That sounds like he's from Hawaii, right?
Hawaiian and Laotian.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I was like, that sounds kind of Chinese or something. I don't know. I'm not going to offend anybody. I'm just saying it's kind of a family though.
I joke around. I'm like, I'm trading one long last name that starts with a B for another one. So
yes, I love it.
Bulgasm, Bumphisay.
I'll be able to say it correctly when I have Kevin on. So
yes,
please give Kevin my love, your father my love, and your mother.
I will. Oh, my dad would be a good one to have on the podcast too.
Oh my gosh, Allie. Yes, Allie, bring it here. I love him.
Well, we all love you. And I just want to say I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
And I love that even after all these years and the distance between us physically, we can connect and nothing changes. And I'm just so grateful for friendships like that. it's family. It's not even just a friendship. It's, so
Exactly.
I'm just really grateful for you, and I'm proud of you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. That means the world to me. We are friends for life. We're sisters for life. I feel the same.
For life.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you again, Jena, for being on. Thank you, everyone, for listening to Surgery for the Soul podcast. Have a blessed day.